Hi everybody. This will be a tutorial on how to create your graph for General Chemistry's Mass versus Volume lab. I want to preface all of this by saying that you need to check with your handouts or your teacher to make sure that this video is covering all of the requirements that they expect for you for your final lab report. The first thing today that we're going to do is open up your data sheet, and wherever you got that from, whether your teacher put it on Schoology or you did that in class, have that pulled up. From there, we're going to highlight our data for glass beads. So starting up here at 1.3, I'm going to click and drag so that all of that data is highlighted in blue. From there, I'm going to go up top to Insert, and halfway over across the top bar, there's an Insert Scatter Chart. So I'm going to click that, and then the very first one will provide a scatter plot graph for you, and that is the one that we're going to do. We're not going to do any of the connected lines, stick with the unconnected lines for today. So you can see here is our glass beads data. It looks really good so far. There are some things we're going to add to this towards the end, but first let's just talk about how to get all of our data collected onto this. One thing that you may have to do is just slightly move this over. That will make clicking on our other cells a little bit easier. Now that we have that moved over, let's right click and you will go to Select Data. Once that pops up, right here on the left in the middle is an Add button. So let's add that button. Then let's type in the series name for our lead shot, because that is our next data set. So let's do lead shot. And then our X values are going to be our first column here in volume. And this will make sense as to why a little bit later, but just know that our X value, we're going to throw volume in that section. So click the first one, you're going to drag all the way down and then release your mouse. And right here, it should fill up with the intended cells that we want to put in there. For the series Y values, we're going to go ahead and delete what's already in there. Now let's click on our mass for lead shot. And then that goes in there, and let's hit OK. And you can see if we look at our graph, that data jumped in there and is on that graph. Let's go ahead and add our third set of iron nails. So series name, we're going to type in iron nails. X value again is our volume column. Click, drag, let it go. And then in our Y box, we're going to delete that and then go ahead and put our mass volume or our mass data in there as well. Click OK, and then we should see on our chart we now have three different data points on there. One thing that you may have to do if you follow this route is change the name of this series 1. So let's go ahead, see how it says series 1. We want it to say glass beads, so let's go ahead and edit that. And then series name, we're just going to type in glass beads. Click OK, and now that is updated onto our chart. So here's our general data collection on there. There's a few things to this graph that we need to do to meet all of the requirements and make it useful. So the first thing that we're going to do is come over here just to the right of your graph and click on this little plus button. Once that shows up, we want our axes checked, so that's good. We also want our axis titles, because we want to be able to put in what those units are, and so they're not just random numbers along the sides and our axes. Click that. We don't want data labels. We're not going to have error bars today, but what we are going to have is a legend. Trend line we're going to hold off on for just a second because I'm going to take you there right now. So we have our legend over here on the right, and we can just kind of unclick that to get it out of the way. We have our legend showing that blue is glass beads, orange lead shot, and the gray is iron nails. Now we want to add that trend line through there. So let's click on just any of our points on the glass beads. It should highlight all of our glass bead data points. We are going to right click on that, and all the way down you're going to see add trend line. Once this pops up, if we scroll down, we want a linear trend line. But if we scroll down, we see set intercept. We want to set that to 0 so that it shows that our first data point, if we were to have one, would be intersecting through 0, 0. And that'll give us our best fit line. We also want to display the equation on our chart. And we'll get to what this means a little bit later, or with your teacher, you will discover what this means. So let's go ahead and do that for all 3 of them. So same thing. We will close out of that, click on the iron nails data points, right click, add trend line, scroll down, make sure set intercept, set that to 0, and then display equation on our chart. And now let's do it for our last one, the lead shot. Click it, make sure all of the points are highlighted, right click, add trend line, and continue with that same process. Set intercept to 0 and display equation on the chart. Now we might have to move those around a little bit because it's kind of confusing. So let's move that, the glass beads, intercept, and then the iron nails. And now we have that data chart all set up. So you are going to go ahead in here from now and add in a chart title, and you can name this different things. And same thing with your axis titles. Make sure you go in and change that to the correct unit of measure for our x-axis and our y-axis. One last thing that you may need to do is change the shape of these data points. So you can do that if you're going to be printing this out. Make sure you go through and discover how to change the shape of those. Hope this is informal for you and informative, and you were able to get a good understanding on how to do this.